I'm Sue. I'm from the Western Monk, and this is an in-depth look at that reading of the week I did on my Instagram page. This is talking about a solo journey, and we're going to look deeper into this reading and see where these blocks are for you. I think what Harry is saying is that there has been something that's been pending. I spoke about this last week on Instagram, how something has just been kind of almost sitting there waiting to drop in, but it seems like it's just a never-ending connection that like almost like a breaking connection that will not connect like you to what you deserve. So let's just take a look at where that card dropped out, and this is definitely the message about walking away and releasing yourself from those expectations. I think when you do this, there's going to be a lot of heartbreak, because I really do feel that there has been an enormous amount of investment in whatever this project has been for you. And you've been told many times, maybe you've been kind of like doing cards yourself, or you've been going to readers, and I think really you've been told quite a few times that this is coming for you, but it really hasn't transpired. And you yourself have been feeling into the fact that this is going to come about, but yet it just hasn't. So what he's asking you to do is he's asking you to dive deep into your intuition, know that you've given your all, and to then release. Now, this is the most heartbreaking thing. Sometimes the fear of releasing and letting go is harder than the actual starting of whatever it was. And maybe it could be relationships for some, but I kind of feel like with a lot of you, it is around projects. It is around, like, there's some kind of financial aspect sitting at the bottom of this. So what sits outside of you is the fact that you've been in a very chaotic kind of environment. So maybe, you've been robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you've been working hard. Maybe this has been a side hustle for you, and you've been really up against it. And he's asking you now to take a step back and really take yourself and let him guide you into that peaceful environment, and let him kind of let justice play out the way that he knows that it should. And I think for most of you, this is going to play out a lot better than what you envisaged, but the actual letting go is the hardest part. And so what he's asking you to do is say that this is in the past, and this has been a past investment, and there's been no return. There's been almost just this unbelievable frustration that deep in your heart that this is meant to come in, but it just hasn't. And the return on, and this speaks of the chaos, is that you've been waiting for this, and obviously letting go now would be like, well, where is this money going to come from? How am I going to get this return? How am I going to get my money back? Now, with Harry, I kind of feel like he rewards this. He rewards the push through. This is inside of you. This is what he's saying you've done. And for some of you, it just hasn't been, 6 months. It has been a decade. It's been a whole 10 years of pushing through and giving and giving and giving, and receiving literally nothing, receiving just the bare minimum. You've been holding your own, but now the completion has happened. And the thing about the thing about the spiritual kind of realm is that it's not like the earth realm. It's so different, where they recognize strength, they reward strength. They even reward a strength of letting go and releasing, when you know deep down in your soul that it's for your own security, and it's for your own, maybe your own mental health, that you let go now. Now I'm getting even emotional as I'm saying this, and I think it is emotional. That was just sitting there. So this is a transition, not an ending. That's what he's saying to me. And I think this reading is so important, because a lot of you could really almost kind of deep dive into too much analyzing around why it didn't work and all that kind of stuff, when really he wants you to just let go and feel the peace, and feel that you've actually stepped away from something that was now burdening you. Maybe it was the love of your life, or maybe it was a real a project that was very dear to you, and it's very disappointing. Now, this is the challenge, that that disappointment, and the Queen of Cups is the most heartfelt version in the tarot. She's very, she leads with her heart. She's got a lot of intuition, but sometimes she can be extremely emotional. And when you've emotionally invested in something, whether it's love or kind of projects or work, maybe career, it is challenging to let go. It is challenging to walk away. And it does feel like you're very much on your own when you do it, because it's a soul's journey, right? And you kind of, you don't know what's next. And you, even though you'd love to know, you really don't. And the King of Wands he's funny, the King of Wands, because there's a fine line with him between ego and vision. So sometimes you just have to understand which is which, and sometimes the ego can be very dented. But I don't think it's like that. With this in the challenge zone, this is more heartbreak. This is more huge disappointment. This is the disappointment of the heart. This is not ego. But I just feel like his visions haven't kind of transpired the way that he thought. And maybe this sits in your personal relationships. So maybe you're worried about what people think because of the investments you've made. Maybe people told you not to go into that relationship you were going to go into, or maybe they were worried about some kind of investments you were making, or maybe the job, they were like, well, why would you do that? And you're just worried about almost like the voices that other people have, their opinions. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Like, when you invest in your own strength and your own growth, there's always going to be some people that kind of have different opinions on it. So I wouldn't be worried about that too much. I would be more worried about protecting my heart, and how self-care and self-love this week really needs to happen. Really kind of not shutting yourself out from the world, actually putting yourself out there and being confident that you actually tried. And now this is the interesting side, and this is what he was showing me this morning. He was showing me that when you release, and when you step back, and when you actually let go, and make the decision to walk away, this is what's sitting on the other side. And this came up again, this came up last week, where there is an opportunity that comes in, and it's from them, because they know how much you've pushed through. They understand. They reward strength. They don't reward taking the assured path. They view that as, well, okay, anyone can kind of do that. Like, anyone can kind of invest in a job that's going to give you, a minimum wage or an average wage or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. But for you, you've taken a very different path. you've taken a journey that has kind of almost fed your soul. And even though there has been disappointment, there has been growth. And within your personal relationships, I kind of feel like you're walking away from ego. You're understanding your ego more, and you're not feeding the ego. You were willing to kind of come into this situation and almost, I don't know, open up your heart and allow for things and magic to happen if that was going to happen. Now, maybe it did for a little bit and then nothing. And so now it's time to let go. But the thing is that on the other side of this hill, and I really don't think it's going to be that long, where you receive. And this is the way justice plays out. It's the weirdest thing. Once you let go and you let go of any expectation, all of a sudden things play out. Now, it mightn't be that, you know, you're going to be given into the account where you had your work situation linked, or maybe you're going to, you know, get a promotion after all. It mightn't be, it may not be that. It may be in something else entirely, but it is definitely financial. There was a financial, he showed me a financial aspect that was sitting underneath this whole thing. And there was a lot on top of it. There was a lot of burdens on top of it that needed to be released. Now, this talks about the ego. This is in the, this is my mental health space. So this talks about the mental health, and this feeds into this guy. Doesn't have to be a guy. It's just like, it could even be you, and how bruised, you know, your ego can kind of feel. Again, don't worry about that. Just be very, very confident in kind of what you're doing. And be very confident in kind of the time you took to let things unfold the way they did. I think that that's the most important thing. And don't beat yourself up. Never, ever beat yourself up, because that kind of brings you back down to that fear base. And we don't want that. We want you elevated so you can actually receive what's coming, receive that opportunity. Now let's see for the outcome. Yeah, the outcome, this is interesting. The outcome is that change of perspective, that hangman, that almost that feeling that you were like in for however long it was for you. And this is when you release it and you kind of move out of that space of chaos, whether it's in your head or that environment that you're in, and you stop settling for, you know, almost nothing in return. And you start to kind of see that you did grow a lot, because I kind of feel like once you start socializing again, you're going to see yourself in a very different space. And this is going to be enlightening for you. You're going to go, oh my God, yeah, I have grown. Like, I've really grown through this experience. Okay, in the earthly realm, you know, finance means everything. And so people see growth as, oh, if you invested 3 years in something, or even 10 years in something, will you be expected to have whatever? 10 years of investment equals such and such. That's not really the way that the spirit realm works. Yes, they do reward in obviously in finance, but in actual fact, the strength that you've gained from this has been unbelievable, and you are going to be rewarded. Let me see. So just let me have a kind of a more in-depth look. Gee, I knew it. I knew that finance was sitting at the bottom of this. I really did. He has not shown finance for so long. I think really with Harry, there has been this collective that he's been working with has just gone through the biggest transformation, and and they're nearly at the end of it. I really do feel like it's nearly a decade for some people, and no matter what your age. So maybe, you know, maybe even if you're 20, like maybe you were 10 and you started, you know, maybe there was something going on in your family, and you started this journey, and then you went to school, and then blah, 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 blah. But I kind of feel like with most of you that sit in that middle age group, there has been so much heartache around the returns of your energy. It is almost like, oh, I can't believe this. And for some of you, you're like, will we go back? Like, for some of you, you've left something and you're like, I'm thinking of going back there. Like, I'm really thinking, because of course reality plays a part. Like, you know, we can't all live up there with Harry in the clouds, you know what I mean? So reality does play a part. But the thing is that once you release this and that transition period, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised by this. You're going to be pleasantly surprised by the heartache that you've endured in this lack of return from your energy. You are going to then step into this magical kind of King of Pentacles. My God, I have been looking for this guy. He never shows me this guy. He never shows me him. He's almost like elusive to a lot of us. And you know what? Here he is. He's a genius, King of Pentacles. You know, he's almost my favorite king out of the whole lot. I kind of feel like this King of Wands, you know, even though he's a visionary and he moves and he's charismatic and, you know, he can suck you in so badly, you know, he's almost like he's a walking lesson to all of us. And he sits there and he doesn't have this self-made strength. Like, see how the King of Pentacles, he wears that robe. He's embedded in the earth. He passively earns, and he just knows who he is. So they're both great, but my preference, I love him. And he sits in your work zone. So I think this is going to be great. I think that when this king shows up, oh my God, we can kind of break out the champagne and we can really, really celebrate all the hard work. And let's face it, with this release and this step away, don't let it be bittersweet. Like just allow this to play out the way it plays out. And when it does play out the way that I'm saying, or kind of close enough, you know, or let it just unfold with what, you know, your situation is, really look up and go, this is insane. So let's just see what happens this week, and let's see how it plays out for you. But I'm glad I took it in depth because I really do feel that a lot of you need it. So I hope that helps. See you later.